Okay, I love to play golf. Everybody kind of knows that. And, we get on the first tee box, and I got one of my golfing buddies who always says, here we go, here we go. So with that, here we go. My name is Bill Shoup. I'm the Executive Director. I have just one real important announcement. For those of you that are carrying cell phones, please put them on vibrate, or as I like to say, stun, and for the courtesy of the people sitting with you. Okay, with that, it's my pleasure to introduce Mr. Jim King, who is the current SSPC president, who will begin this luncheon.
Good morning. I'm Jim King of John B. Economists Incorporated, located in Bridgeville, PA, and I'm very proud to be this year's SSPC president. On behalf of my colleagues on the Board of Governors, it is my distinct pleasure to welcome all of you to the 2015 SSPC Conference here in Sin City, Las Vegas. Hopefully by now we've all had a chance to recover from one of our largest national holidays, the Super Bowl. And what a great game we had. And if there are any New England fans out there, I have two things to say. One, congratulations, and two, I hope you sent a big old thank you note to the Seattle Seahawks. As for the rest of us, as they always say, there's always next year. I truly want to thank everyone for attending this conference this year, especially any first-timers. You are going to see some young folks shortly who will be recognized as this year's scholarship winners. I want to welcome them and all of the other young folks attending, because you truly are the future of the coatings industry. We are looking forward to 4 great days of learning, networking, and having fun with our coatings colleagues and friends. Also, shortly, Bill will be recognizing this year's conference sponsors, and tomorrow we will be cutting the ribbon to open the exhibit hall. During the course of the next several days, whenever you encounter one of our sponsors or exhibitors, please take a moment to say thank you, because without their support, we would not be able to put on a conference of this magnitude. And now before I begin, I would like to recognize some of the SSPC past presidents. I would ask them if they would please rise, and would you please hold your applause until we introduce all of them. Also, if I've missed anyone, please accept my apologies, but I would also ask you to stand as well. The past presidents are Carl Angeloff from Bare Material Science, Russ Brown from Polygon, Bruce Henley from the Brock Group, Robert Kogler Jr. from Rampart, LLC, Ken Martin from Martin Specialty Coatings, Inc., John F. Montel, who is also an Honorary Life Member, Donnie Riddle from Sherwin-Williams Company. Donnie is also a John D. Keane Award winner. Steve Roeder from Core Pro Companies, Ralph Trello from L&R Consulting. Ralph is also an Honorary Life Member and a John D. Keane Award winner. Ken Trimber from KTA Tator. Ken is also a John D. Keane Award winner and soon will be presented another prestigious SSPC award. Would you give all of these people a hand, please? Thank you. We also have 2 past presidents that are still serving on the board. They are Bob McMurdy of Mohawk Garnet. Bob resides in Sudbury, Canada, where today I think it's a balmy -45. And I think he's pretty glad to be here this week. And also Ben Fultz of Bechtel Corporation, who was president last year. Would you give these 2 fellows a hand, please? And now I would like to present Ben with his plaque as a past president. At this time, I would also like to recognize some previous award winners. Again, I would ask they please rise, and would you please hold your applause until we introduce all of them. And again, ditto my apologies if I might have missed someone but if I did, please rise and also be recognized. Honorary Life Member David Boyd of Vulcan Painters Incorporated. David is also a John D. Keane Award winner. Derek Castle of Kentucky Transportation Cabinet, last year's recipient of the John D. Keane Award of Merit. Honorary Life Member John Conomus of John B. Conomus Incorporated. William Corbett of KTA Tator, Inc., who is a past recipient of the John D. Keane Award of Merit. And Honorary Life Member Tom Duncan II of Duncan & Bush. Would you please give these folks a hand, please? I would also like to recognize Pam Simmons, Editor-in-Chief of JPCL and the Technology Publishing Company, and thank them and all of their staff for all of the great work that they do. I would also like at this time to thank the SSPC staff for their hard work and effort in putting this conference together. I would like them to stand so we may recognize them. Please. Your SSPC staff, folks, and they do an absolutely great job. I want to remind you that this is not the staff's SSPC or even the board's SSPC. It is our SSPC. And both the board and staff are caretakers of the organization. We constantly strive to make improvements, and we welcome any of your comments, whether it is about this conference, member benefits, or training and certification. This will be the agenda for this annual meeting. I will be introducing the Board of Governors. Terry Sowers will present the 2 chapter awards. Pam Simmons will follow Terry and give the JPCL Editors and Outstanding Publication Awards. Pam will then turn the podium over to Bill Shoup, the Executive Director. Bill will then cover SSPC membership, finances, and highlights of the conference. He will then read the outstanding structure citations, and I will have the honor of presenting the awards to the recipients. Bill will also introduce the scholarship winners. He will read the following awards: the SSPC President's Lecture Series, Women in Coding's Impact Award, Coding's Education, Technical Achievement, and the John D. Keane Awards, which I will present to the awardees, and we will then present the highest SSPC award, the Honorary Life Member Award. And then, since this is our annual meeting, we will ask if there is any new business, and if none, we will adjourn. And now I would like to present the officers of this year's Board of Governors. Again, I'm Jim King. President-elect is Skip Vernon from CLT Inc. Vice President, Gunnar Axe from SciCon Worldwide, BVBA. And I've already introduced Ben Fultz, who is the immediate past president from Bechtel Corporation. It is now my distinct pleasure to introduce the other colleagues that I have had a lot of opportunity to work with over the past several years, and believe me, nobody works harder than these people to do what we think is best for this organization. Before I announce them, I would also like to say that this board works on a voluntary basis. There's no frills. The biggest benefit, just like the staff, is getting to work with Bill. The rest of the board are Derek Castle from Kentucky Transportation Cabinet, Steve Collins from Air Products, who could not be here due to his recuperation from shoulder surgery, Jay Cranker from Dryco, LLC, Gary Manos from Atsalis Brothers Painting, Vic Pilata from ARS Recycling Systems, LLC, Dr. Brian Scarry from Sherwin-Williams Company, Joe Walker from Alconomer, and Gail Warner from Huntington Ingalls Industries, Newport News Shipbuildings, the rest of your SSPC board. Just a few final words before I turn the podium over to Terry. Over the past several years, the SSPC board has placed an emphasis on getting the young people in our industry more involved. Shortly, you will meet several of this year's scholarship winners. They and many of the young professionals in your organizations are our industry's future. Our challenge is to continue to address this need and to involve the youth of our companies into the industry. One way of accomplishing that goal is to look within our companies and encourage those whose careers are just beginning to take advantage of everything SSPC has to offer. I know as a contractor, our customers more and more require that we demonstrate the technical competence of our people. As such, we encourage our people to become as educated as possible as a way of not only letting our customers know that we are serious about our place in the coatings industry, but as a way for them to enhance their own careers. SSPC training and certification programs provide an educational opportunity to not only enhance one's own resume, but to make them a more valuable asset within your organization. SSPC is there, poised to assist you and your companies and your employees with all of your training needs and certification. And now I would like to turn the program over to Terry Sowers, who will present the Outstanding Chapters Award.
Thank you, Jim. Each year, it's my honor to announce the awards for the SSPC local chapters. First, I would like to thank all of the officers, steering committee members, and volunteers who work on behalf of SSPC to make our chapters successful. When selecting chapter awards each year, we consider all of the chapter activities and the overall operations of the chapter. Again, this year, we will give one award for the North American Outstanding Chapter and one for the International Outstanding Chapter. The Outstanding Chapter for North America is the Northern California, Nevada chapter. This group has been very busy this year. They held 6 events and a golf tournament. They sponsored a C3 and a C5 course and are a sponsor for the closing party here at the show. The chapter also held a contest to sponsor 2 first-timers to the conference this year. We would like to welcome Chuck Stevens and his wife, Debbie, and John Orgon and his wife, Diane, to their first SSPC conference. The officers of the Northern California, Nevada chapter for 2014 are Dan Zaveski, the Carboline Company, Chair, Tim Sawson, Jerry Thompson and Sons, Incorporated, Vice Chair, David Brockman, Certified Coatings Company, Secretary, and Bert Olheiser, Vantage Point Consulting, Treasurer. Would Dan Zaveski and Bert Olheiser please come up to accept the award? The Outstanding International Chapter is the Saudi Arabia chapter. The Saudi Arabia chapter has helped to create opportunities for greater recognition of SSPC programs in Saudi Arabia and the Middle East. The SSPC Saudi chapter, along with the American Society of Materials, organized the 2014 Middle East Steel Conference and Exhibition, which was held in Dubai from October 21st to 24th, 2014. SSPC presented 2 workshops and a keynote presentation at the event. The chapter also had a booth to promote the chapter and SSPC programs. They also held a technical exchange on development and testing of advanced systems for passive fire protection in March. The 2014 officers for the Saudi Arabia chapter are Mana El Mansour, Saudi Aramco Chair, Hassan S. El Sagor, Saudi Aramco Vice Chair, Anthony Manuel, Saudi Aramco Secretary, and Oscar Daniel Salazar Vidal, Saudi Aramco Treasurer. Unfortunately, none of them could be here with us today, but Joji Cherion is here to accept the award on their behalf. Joji, would you come up, please? Thank you. And now I'd like to turn the podium over to Pam Simmons.
Thank you, Terry. Okay, first, the Outstanding Publication Award winners for Titans of the Abyss, Polyurethane, Polyurea, and Hybrid Lining Technology goes to Dr. Mike O'Donohue and VJ Data. While they're being photographed, a little birdie asked me if I would give a shout out to Tessa O'Donohue for her creative contribution. Sorry, Tessa. Okay, the JPCL Editor Award winners, if you are present, please come up and accept your award. Don't sit down, Mike. When undercover agents are tested to the limit, coatings in action and corrosion under installation at high temperature. Authors, Dr. Mike O'Donohue, VJ Data, Dr. Adrian Andrews, Sean Adlam, Linda G.S. Gray, Tara Chall, Nicole de Varenne, and Bill Johnson. Next, preparing and lining concrete for immersion service, steps and procedures to avoid failures, goes to Robert Maley, and he is not here. I was told Randy Nixon might accept his award. Okay, moving right along. Efficient polyurethane pipe coatings for harsh conditions. Authors, Aaron Olson, Andreas Auster... Wait, I practiced this, I'm gonna get it. Okay, Andreas Austervischen, thank you. Dr. Todd Williams and Matthias Wintermantel. Next, coatings maintenance planning to ensure reliable water and power delivery. Authors, Dr. Bobby Joe E. Merton, Richard Pepin, David Tordonato, and Alan Skaya. And last but not least, robotic sprayed-in-place pipelining. The polyurea goes round and round. Authors Dudley Primo and Todd Gomez. Before I turn the podium back over to Bill, he will be recognizing some scholarship winners, and you've already heard mention of investment in the youth in this industry. I wanted to let everyone know that JPCL does a bonus issue every year in August with a specific focus, and the 2015 bonus issue will be showcasing young coatings professionals. Contenders, candidates must be nominated. I have, hey, Muzzle Tough. I have cards with the information as far as what's involved in doing that. If you would like more information on your own, you can just go to paintsquare.com NEXTGen, NEXTGEN. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, Bill Shoup.
Okay, with that, since this is our annual meeting, I'm being the head hired hand here. I go over some slides to deal with our operations, membership, and finance. First slide is I want to recognize the industrial affiliates. Without their support, a lot of the programs wouldn't be accomplished, and SSPC wouldn't be in a viable financial situation that is now. And here's our first 8 industrial affiliates, and the following 7. I'd like to everybody give them a round of applause for their support. I want to talk about individual membership. You can see over the last 5 years we've been pretty successful at moving that bar up. We're now 10,820 individual members, either paid individual members or corporate individual members. The goal is to get that bar as high as we can, and we work on that every day, and we'll continue to do the best job that we can. Looking at organizational membership, again, you can see the graph, all the pretty colors, last 5 years, steady growth there. We're up to 951 corporate members on December 31st of 2014. Individual training and certification, I stand up every year and tell the association, the members, that that's our biggest revenue center. And as you can see, the training side increased, the certification side increased, and we had an increased number of total students trained for last year. So we just signed a contract with DOD to do DOD training for them, and so we're looking forward to that and continuing to move that bar forward. On PCCP, that's the only negative area we had last year. There was a lot of companies that dropped out, 35 dropped out, a lot of it to do to going out of business, consolidation, and other reasons. So we lost a few there. We're down 13 from where we were last year. But again, the key is there to get the owners to specify PCCP, and then the contractors get the certification based on their vision to get that business from the owner. And again, I've got a couple people working that issue every day. So next year, this time, we'll hopefully report that that bar is back up. Now, everybody likes to look at the finances. You can see where we compare from last year to this year. We are financially very healthy. As you can see, that the reserve fund is sitting very well. And let me just say this, the Board of Governors has to consider some strategic initiatives they've started. One of those might be our lease in our building in Pittsburgh is up in 2016, February. Got brokerage firms looking at possibly buying a building or doing something like that instead of renting like we do now. So that's one of those strategic initiatives we got to look at. And there's a couple other on the table. Talk to any board member. They might want to fill you in, but I don't want to take time to talk about it because we got a jam-packed program. But the bottom line is we are financially very healthy, and it's a good situation to be in. Let me talk about the conference real quick. First of all, thank everybody for coming, especially from the East Coast. If you fought a snowstorm, blizzard, or something else to get here, I'm very appreciative. The staff is very appreciative. The Board of Governors are very appreciative of you making that effort to get here. So from the deepest part of my heart, thank you very much. Without you, it's not much of a conference. I want to thank the EPAC, the Educational Program Advisory Committee. Here they are. I'm not going to read all their names out. I watched Bob McMurdy. When his lips quit moving, I changed slides. And that's the EPAC. But I want to thank all the committees who worked on the awards that you will see given, the Structures Award Committee, the Women in Coatings Committee. The Board of Governors decides the John D. Keane Award and the Honorary Life Member. So they're a committee. So they worked on that, decided that, and that's important. Technical achievement, education, all of those are run by committees. And I would just want to thank the people that do work on committees. That's an important part of this organization. The standards are the cornerstone of SSPC. So get on committees, influence how this industry is run, make a difference. It's not hard. We've got an electronic workspace. You can do everything electronically. It doesn't take the old hand jam paper thing. So please do that. Get on committees. But thank you to all the committees who worked on putting this together. Again, financially, we couldn't do this conference without the sponsors. I want to thank, I'm going to go through all the levels of sponsors, but I want to thank them for what they do to support this conference. Again, this wouldn't happen without their support. The top level are those 4 companies. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. The gold level, the silver level, also the silver level, and you can see, you'll see a couple chapter logos who take out of their funds to support this conference. We appreciate you doing that with your finances. The bronze circle, and I always have to say this about my friend Phil Calvo, who runs Eagle. He always sponsors the trash cans, and he tells me business is picking up. The bronze circle. And let me talk about the special programs on the conference. Tonight is the welcome reception sponsored by Carboline. Tomorrow, the exhibit hall opening will be sponsored by Sherwin-Williams. The after party, after the close of the exhibit hall, sponsored by Jotun. The lunch in the exhibit hall on Thursdays, Mega Rust. And lastly, the closing party Friday night. I hope as many of you can make it. It's always a fun event. And then everybody catch a plane or whatever they have to do on Friday or stay here in Vegas. And by the way, Jeff Dunham act is pretty good over there at Planet Hollywood. So if you want to stay on for an extra night, catch a show. Our exhibit hall hours. Here they are Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Please make several trips to the exhibit hall. Walk around, see what these vendors have to offer. They spend a lot of time, they bring a lot of people to show you their latest and greatest things to improve your business. Please walk around the exhibit hall, grip and grin, shake hands, learn what they do, pick up some great ideas, take them home, run your business better. Next year's conference, San Antonio, Texas. So just want to put that January 18th through the 21st. With that, I'm going to go to the awards. So let me get a little bit organized here. First award is the George Campbell Award. This is for outstanding achievement in the completion of a difficult or complex industrial or commercial coatings project. The first winner is the Brooklyn Bridge. The structure owner is the New York City Department of Transportation. You want to just hold your applause till I get through this, please? And we'll get the recognition, and then I'll do the clapping. The Brooklyn Bridge. And its owner is the New York City Department of Transportation, represented by, and if I mispronounce a name or something, I deeply apologize. I wish all these engineers and other people had Smith and Jones as names, but they don't. So it's represented by German Van Platt, P.E., Greenman Peterson Incorporated. The contractor applicator is Ahern Painting Contractors Incorporated, represented by Kieran Ahern, Vice President. The coating material suppliers, Axel Nobel, represented by Luciano Caruso. How do you like that little roll? Caruso. Okay, Regional Sales Manager, North USA. The other key participants are Mr. David Malcolm, SafeSpan Platform Systems, and Jacinto Nuco Painting Corporation. The project description. The Brooklyn Bridge, opened in 1883, carries vehicular and pedestrian traffic between the Brooklyn and Manhattan over the East River. It is one of the oldest hybrid cable-stayed suspension bridges in the United States and required a multi-tiered approach to complete the massive coating project. The structure resides on both the National Historic Landmark and the National Historic Civil Engineering Landmark registries, respectively. The project faced numerous site access and surface preparation complexities, outside agency coordination issues, maintenance and protection of, traffic restrictions, and interference from the Superstorm Sandy prior to its successful completion. There's the Brooklyn Bridge. In my opinion, there's two iconic bridges in the United States. One is the Brooklyn, the other is the one Gateway Bridge out there, or whatever it's called, Golden Gate out there in California. It's really iconic, isn't it? Oh, well, I'll get through this. Okay, will the award winners please come forward? And as you get your award, would you please slide across the stage, move over to the black curtain where they want to take another picture. Anybody know who designed the Brooklyn Bridge? John Roebling. John Roebling, exactly. Okay, the second award winner is the Fremont Bridge. Owner, the Seattle Department of Transportation, represented by Halishnesh Wobateo. Project engineer, contractor applicator, Purcell Painting LLC, represented by David Purcell, Senior President. Coating material supplier, the Sherwin-Williams Company, represented by Donnie Riddle, Vice President of Global Operations. Other key personnel involved in the successful completing of this project, Josh Rubero, PE, and Jasper Calcara, PE of D.H. Charles Engineer. The project description, the 97-year-old Fremont Bridge is the most frequently open draw bridge in the world. Last cleaned and coated in 1970, the project presented significant challenges. On an average of 35 times per day, the crew would have to secure its work and clear the bridge to permit federally mandated passage of water traffic while ensuring that they protected the waterway from paint chips and debris. Intense wind loading on the underside of the platform, stabilization during the raising, and very sensitive counterweight restrictions added to the many issues that had to be resolved to complete the project on time. Would those award winners please step forward? Keeping this moving. The next award is the William Johnson Award for outstanding achievement demonstrating aesthetic merit in industrial or commercial coatings work. The winner is the Rainbow Swash Liquid Natural Gas Tank. The owner, National Grid, represented by Joshua Cardoso, Supervisor, LNG Operations, who could not be here today due to weather and flight delays. The contractor applicator is John W. Egan Company Incorporated, represented by Robert Belaus, Senior, General Superintendent, and Robert Belaus, Project Manager. Coating material supplier, the Sherwin-Williams Company, represented by Anthony Spatarella. Other key personnel in the successful completion of this project, Scott Deviney, Project Development Manager, Mark Coate, Kevin Kiley, the Sherwin-Williams Company. Project description. The Rainbow Swash LNG storage tank is considered an iconic gateway to the city of Boston and is the largest copyrighted work of art in the world. The project includes preparing and overcoating the entire surface of the tank with a detailed application of tinted epoxy base coat and polyurethane top coats to restore the artwork without compromising the original design work. Would those award winners please step forward? The next award is the Crone Canoy Award for outstanding achievement in commercial or industrial coatings work that demonstrates innovation, durability, and utility. The first winner is the Momcom Generating Station. Owner, Atlantic Power, represented by David Griffin, Hydro Plant Foreman. Contractor applicated, Certified Coating Specialists Incorporated, represented by David Gould, Operations Manager. Coating supplier, the Carboline Company, represented by Jeff Wilson, Vice President, Carboline Canada. Other key personnel in the successful completion of this project, Mark Nuring, Atlantic Power, and Gary Badger, Coating Specialist, the Carboline Company. Not yet. 2 pictures, each project. Okay. Project description, the Momcom Generating Station, and by the way, when you take a look at this picture, when you say, don't say that coatings and linings applicators do some really crappy work, take a look at that picture. The Momcom Generating Station project consisted of a full preparation and recoating of the external aspect of a generating station in steel penstock. The penstock was located 80 feet underground and encased in a rock tunnel with very limited working space in a very damp and cold environment. All equipment, scaffolding, and personnel had to be transported down a vertical shaft via ladder access. In spite of the many challenges with difficult access and extreme environmental and safety issues, the project was completed successfully on time. Would the award winners please step forward? And I have a correction to make. It's Doug Moore accepting for the Carboline Company.
Jeff got stuck in snow.
Oh, okay. Jeff got stuck in snow. So Doug came up and accepted. Second award winner is the Mokelumne Aqueducts, owner, East Bay Municipal Utility District, which I will call East Bay MUD from now on. That's their acronym. I'm not kidding. East Bay MUD, represented by Mark Lewis, Associate Corrosion Control Specialist. Contractor applicator, Albane Sabota Incorporated, represented by James Savoda, Vice President, and Don Hawley, Vice President, who could not be here today. The coating material suppliers, the Carboline Company, represented by Doug Moore, Vice President, Global Marketing, and Dan Zaveski, Sales Representative. Other key personnel in the successful completion of this project, Luke Schnitzler, Project Manager, Albane Sabota, William Hosfeld, Supervising Engineer, Robert Johnson, Coating Inspector, East Bay MUD Utility District. Project description. The 3 Mokelumne aqueducts bring high-quality Sierra Nevada mountain water 90 miles to San Francisco's East Bay communities and serves approximately 1.3 million people. And I also said maybe they run Coors beer too. A 10-mile portion of these steel pipelines are above ground where they cross over land that has numerous protected wildlife species that had to remain undisturbed. The pipes were coated with a red lead aluminum paint system with limited and difficult access that required an innovative and unique floating containment system, which you see in the picture, capable of navigating the shallow, tidally influenced wetland waterways. The contractor completed the work under budget and on time and had no negative environmental impact to the surrounding area. Would the award winners please come forward? The next award is the Charles G. Munger Award for outstanding industrial or commercial coatings project demonstrating longevity of the original coating. The structure may have had spot repairs or overcoating with the original coating still intact. The winner is the Brookfield Water Spheroid. Owner, the Village of Brookfield, Tom Van Germet Dixon Engineering accepting for the village president, Kit Ketchmark, who could not be here today. Contractor applicator, Chicago Bridge and Iron, represented by Ron Barker, coating specialist. AM Coat Painting, represented by Thomas Turowski, field representative, and LC United representative, Kanto Lul, who could not be here today. Coating material supplier, Taylor Coatings / Tanemi Company, represented by Dan Savage, technical service representative, the Tanemi Company. Other key personnel in the successful completion of this project is Bernie Held, Crawford, Murphy and Tilley, Rich Horn and Robin Hossick, Chicago Bridge and Iron, Derek Treachel, Hancock Engineering, and Brad Shotas, Dixon Engineering Incorporated. The project description: in 1979, a new water spheroid was built for the village of Brookfield, Illinois. In 1997, which you see a picture here, the exterior coating system and interior lining were power washed and overcoated, and the lettering and dolphins and the logo repainted. In 2013, it was determined that the exterior coating system would once again be power washed and overcoated, and all failed areas were power and tool clean. Spot repair work was done on the interior wet and dry areas. The Village of Brookfield lettering and the Dolphins logo were repainted again. Since 1979, the structure has had spot repairs and overcoating work, but 95% of the original coating is still intact. Would the award winners please step forward? Anybody here? Oh, coming from the back? Okay, he's coming from the back. Okay, the next award. The next award, you got a good shot of the hat? Okay. We got 2 award winners. The next award is the Military Coatings Project Award of Excellence. This award is in recognition of the exceptional coatings work performed on U.S. military ships, equipment, structures, or facilities. And by the way, they didn't bring me this hat. I got it when I visited the Ike in about 1993 or 94. Quite an experience. The first winner is the USS Dwight D. Eisenhower CVN 69. The owner, of course, is the United States Navy. And we in the Army used to call them BGBs, big gray boats. The owner is the United States Navy, Daniel Dunmeyer, Director of DoD Corrosion Policy and Oversight, Office of the Undersecretary of Defense Acquisition and Technology and Logistics, accepting on behalf of Lieutenant Commander Jason Roberson of the Navy's POC, who is unable to be here today. The contractor applicator is General Dynamics, NASCO Earl Industries, Frui Pasquale, Project Manager, Wade Hyatt, Project Manager, and Phil Avery, QC Manager. The coatings material supplier is PPG, Protective and Marine Coatings, Tom Morrissey, National Sales Manager. And lastly, Jeff Hall, Technical Sales Representative. Other key personnel: Chris Brown, NASCO Earl, PM, Kurt Bosch, NSSA, PM. And I want to thank Northrop Grumman for that slide. How appropriate, okay? Project description: preservation was performed on over 289,000 square feet of the freeboard, 207,000 square feet of the underwater hull, and 48,000 square feet on the carrier island. Needless to say, the project required complex planning and scheduling during some adverse weather conditions in Newport News. The project took almost 1 year to complete, and the painting had to be scheduled around the other numerous trades that are involved in the carrier refit and overhaul. Would these award winners please step forward? Now we change headgear. Okay? The second award winner is the Tank Project. I apologize for not showing the Ike Island. Now, this is a unique project, so bear with me, please. The second winner is the Tank Project for the National Armor and Cavalry Museum at Fort Benning, Georgia. The owner is the National Armor and Cavalry Heritage Foundation. I'm going to go over the scope of the project so the audience understands that we're doing this award a little differently. This was a collaborative project involving 6 industrial contracting firms, 20 painters, 13 suppliers, and the support people that backed them up. Crews flew or drove in from all over the United States to paint 7 tanks and armored vehicles for the National Armor and Cavalry Museum at Fort Benning. All the personnel involved in this project did this to honor the armor crewman or the cavalry trooper who served their country by riding in these vehicles in either war or peacetime. I would like a true armor cavalryman to come forward and say a few words. He is Lieutenant General retired John Sylvester, who is the chairman of the National Armor and Cavalry Foundation Board. I would like to also recognize Command Sergeant Major retired. And for those of you that may not know what a Command Sergeant Major is, that is the highest enlisted rank that you can have. And when you make Command Sergeant Major, you got your ducks all in a row, who serves as the Foundation Executive Director. Many of you remember General Sylvester, who addressed the SSPC conference on 2 other occasions. He served in Vietnam. He also commanded the 1st Brigade, 2nd Armored Division, the famous Tiger Brigade in Desert Storm. He also had 3 tours in the Balkans, culminating as the commander of the NATO Stabilization Forces who kept the peace in that war-torn region. I will just mention that he was awarded the Defense Distinguished Service Medal when he retired. He was previously awarded the Silver Star and 2 Bronze Stars, 1 for valor, along with other numerous awards and decorations. I could go on, but lastly, I want to introduce him as my friend and one of the finest officers that I had the privilege of serving under. I'd like to introduce Lieutenant General retired John Sylvester.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I'd like for Bill to come back up here because you notice the second person that Bill introduced was Command Sergeant Major Rick Young, and beside every single Army officer is his right arm, who's a senior non-commissioned officer. In this case now, actually I'm kind of on the right side of our Executive Director, Command Sergeant Major Rick Young, but Sergeant Major Young is my right arm today as we take this foundation forward. 30 years ago, my right arm was a guy by the name of Bill Shoup. Yeah. You've had him for the last 20 years. 30 years ago, Bill and Diane were part of the 168 Armor, the first to fight the Silver Lions, all the other stuff on the old East German border. And we stood up there every day waiting for the hated Russian horde to attack. They chickened out and never came, I'm sure glad. But I think we would have given them what for, but that was a long time ago and a long ways away. In the Army, you learn that there's kind of 3 things that mean something to people. The first, obviously, is your family. That probably goes without saying. You got 2 families, though, in the military. You got that which you were born and raised with or married or did whatever, your wife and your kids and your grandkids and all that other stuff. The other family you've got is your Army family. And Bill and Diane here today, you guys are part of the family, and thank you very much for being part of that family. The other thing that you have is your reputation. Don't go away, Bill. Don't go away.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you're damn right. You got to keep him in his place. He's a big shot here, I know. and afterwards, everybody says, you can't talk about our executive director like that, but yeah. The second thing that's important in the Army is your reputation. And I'm sitting in here today, and I'm absolutely amazed at listening to the pedigree of this group as I watch these awards. And I watch, you know, I thought y'all stood around and watched paint rust. And that was a crack I used a couple of years ago. It didn't go over well either. But this is a serious-minded organization, and it leads me to the third thing, because it's something that you all recognize and do, and it's part of our legacy. And it's about, our legacy is about the future. It isn't about the past. And everybody says, well, a museum, that's a collection of rusty artifacts and blah, blah, blah. Thanks to you guys, 7 of them are no longer rusty. They've been refurbished completely, but it isn't about rusty artifacts. A museum is about the future. It's about training young leaders of the future and instilling in them an understanding of the past so that they can go forward. And your group, headed by this guy right here, and one other I'd like to call up here, Mr. David Boyd. David, I know you're here. There you are. And I wouldn't even mind if Susan would come up here too, because, well, you don't have to, but you may. Please. Because while I met Bill 30 years ago, I met David and Susan, I don't know, it's now 3 or 4 years ago, I can't remember, it was a long time ago, at Fort Benning. And they showed up, and they weren't quite sure why they came, but they came because Bill asked them to. And they came down to Fort Benning, and we looked at all of this stuff. We looked at this inordinate challenge ahead and said, what can you do? He said, well, we'll give it a start. And boy, they sure did. David organized this group that Bill described here a few minutes ago, and they came with all of the description that you heard of the different people with different qualifications, and they did some magical work. Now, was it rebuilding 90,000 tons of diplomacy? No, it wasn't. It was a bit smaller than that, but it was the leading edge of this National Armor and Cavalry Museum that the National Armored Cavalry Foundation is working. And I just want to thank David, your leadership of that group, Bill, for you for making it happen, Susan for making sure David showed up, and I kind of detect that there is an undercurrent of who the heck's in charge over here, but that's the case with every husband and wife. But I want to thank all of them and all of you right here in front of God and everybody for this effort on behalf of not this old retired general or old retired command sergeant major, but of the youngsters that will be touched in the future. Thank you all very much. Now, I have a memento for David and Susan and a memento for Bill. It's all the same one right now, but we'll get, with whichever one of them fails to take this away with them, we'll get them one. And it's a print entitled The Thunderbolt Trail, and it really shows the history of armor and cavalry from a young trooper racing onto the battlefield in the upper left-hand corner to old blood and guts, your blood, my guts, George Patton, up in the upper right-hand corner, and all of the armor vehicles that we've been raised on through history. So thank you very much, Bill. Thank you. Susan. And David. Thank you. Now, are you going to read some of this other stuff, or you're going to read? I'm going to go away. Thank you all very much.
I think everybody could get a feeling of why I really love that guy. I always said there's one officer, he knew when to soar with the Eagles or come down and scratch with the chickens. Just a great guy to work under. And I want to thank him for his comments. And I can say this, thank you, John. I get to call him that since we're both retired. But it used to be, before that, it was always yes, sir, no, sir. Or, I'm sorry we screwed this up, okay? Again, okay, as he just said. That's a tough crowd even from up here. Okay, I'm going to first ask the suppliers to come forward, and you see their names here. And let me just say this. I didn't do much for this. I made one smart phone call. That was to my friend David Boyd. And David Boyd took the ball and ran with it. But he wants to make sure that he thanks everybody else that participates in this project, because he didn't do it all himself. But I just want to give credit where credit's due. I called the guy. He was the quarterback who put this all together. And so with that, I want to thank David for that. So the first supplier is Axiom Manufacturing, Fresno, Texas, providing air dryers, industrial vacuums. Bill Nelson, VP of Sales, is accepting for Axiom. The Carboline Company, providing MEK and 55-gallon drums. Doug Moore, Vice President of Global Marketing, is accepting for Carboline. Chloride International, providing contaminant testing and reporting material. Southeast Regional Manager Robert Richter, Vice President, Hap Peters, is accepting for Chloride. Corrosion Specialties Incorporated, Duluth, Georgia, providing mixed equipment. And Andy Steinman, VP Sales, is accepting for Corrosion Specialties. Eagle Industries, providing plastic sheeting, mesh and containment, socks. Southeastern Territory Manager Mark Coulon is accepting for Eagle. HCI Chemtech Incorporated, providing encapsulate. Daryl Selinsky, President, Enviro Air Prep Systems, accepting for HCL. The International Union of Painters and Allied Trades, IUPAT District 77, providing labor and equipment. John Cordian, East Regional Industrial Liaison. Chuck Hill, DC 77, Business Manager. Mohawk Garnet Incorporated, providing blasting media and surface preparation expertise. Steve Krolak, Sales Manager, is accepting for Mohawk. RPB Safety LLC, Royal Oak, Michigan, providing Nova 3 respirators. Radix Airline Filters, and T100 Tyvek paint hoods. Kurt Ivory, VP Sales and Marketing, is unable to attend. The Sherwin-Williams Company, providing coatings and supplies. John N. Cox, Military Coatings. Larry Beast, Midwest Sales Manager. Brian Cheshire, Regional Sales Representative. Stewart Supply, providing hand tools and personal protective equipment. Rick Stewart and Stephen Wally are unable to attend. And lastly, U.S. Coatings, St. Louis, Missouri, providing coatings. Mike Reed, General Manager, is accepting for U.S. Coatings. Could we have a round of applause for all the suppliers? Okay, while they get organized and take a photo, I'm going to talk about now the vehicles they painted, and most importantly, the industrial contractors, industrial painters who completed the task. The first one, this is an M26 Pershing tank designed during World War II as a heavy tank of the United States Army. The heavy tank designation comes from the size of its gun, a 90 millimeter, and its weight at the time. The next one is the M114 Reconnaissance Carrier, a Vietnam War-era armored fighting vehicle. And as I think the General and I can both agree, at least when I came in the Army, that was not a vehicle to be on. It was underpowered, had a 283 Chevy engine in it. The contractor is Vulcan Painters, Bessemer, Alabama. David Boyd, CEO. The crew was Reggie Clements from Vulcan, Birmingham. Coy Gravette, Anniston, Alabama, sent by the IUPAT to work on this project. Would those people please come forward? David's pointing at somebody to come forward. The next vehicle is the patent M48 tank. The M48 tank was in service from 1953 to the 1990s and was the primary battle tank used during the Vietnam War by the United States Army and the U.S. Marine Corps. The contractor is Abe Savoda of Jordan, Minnesota. James Savoda, Vice President. Crew Don Hawley, who is unable to attend due to the weather from Minnesota. Rick Pendleton from North Carolina. Dan Maxwell from California. Zach Pratcher and Sean Landowski from Louisiana. Would they please step forward? Many of you probably recognize this vehicle, probably don't know the nomenclature of it, but this is an M113 armored personnel carrier. This vehicle was the first used in the Vietnam War in 1964 and became the most widely used U.S. Army armored vehicle in that war. It has also been used by 50 countries worldwide and has been adapted to a variety of missions. M113s can carry 11 infantrymen with 2 crew members. Shouldn't have hit that one. The contractor is Thomas Industrial Coatings of Peverly, Missouri. Dan McGraw, General Manager, is unable to attend. Project Manager Joshua Range. Crew is Richard Hale and Sean Murray. Would they please step forward? Anybody here from Thomas Industrial? No. No? You got anybody? It's hard to see with the lights on. Okay. The next one is the M60A3 tank, a model developed from the M48. The M60s were in U.S. service from 1961 to 1997, and the M60 remains in service in many countries today, including Egypt, Turkey, and Israel. The M60A3 is the most modern tank in this project and the largest at 60 tons combat loaded. The contractor is Main Industries of Hampton, Virginia. Chris Challenger, Contracts Manager. Crew Martin Thornton, his son Trey Thornton, and Brent Higgins, all from Baxley, Georgia. Would they please step forward? Anybody here? Next vehicle, this is the M551 Sheridan, a light reconnaissance, when I say light, 20 tons, vehicle designed to be dropped by parachute and swim across rivers. It saw service in Vietnam, Panama, and Kuwait. General Sylvester and I both had these at one time in our cavalry troops. It had a 152 millimeter main gun and a missile system. You fired the main gun, the missile never shot. Okay? It was overgunned for 20 tons. And you dropped it usually once. Okay? The contractor is Champion Painting of Miami, Florida, a veteran-owned firm. Dwayne Huff, Chief Operating Officer. The crew was Robert Garrett of Orlando, Florida, and Leo Aspioso of Ocala, Florida. Are they here, please? Please step forward. And the last vehicle is the M3 Bradley Cavalry Fighting Vehicle, which was designed to transport cavalry scouts with armor protection while providing covering fire. It carries 4 scouts in addition to the regular crew of 3. This type of vehicle has been in service from 1981 to the present. The contractor is Coatings Unlimited Incorporated, St. Louis, Missouri. Steve Phillips, Senior President, and Stephen Phillip, Jr., Vice President. Sean Egan, Project Manager. Crew of Zachary Daniels and Hiram Zweifel, both from Missouri. Would they please come forward? And before I give the final comments on this award, I do want to say I hope everybody realizes the scope of those contractors coming together, those suppliers coming together for a good cause. The coatings industry, the association, and everybody associated with this project should be proud. and I just want to say thank you. I want to finish by relaying some comments from people we just recognized. And these are quotes that I got from Susan. "It's quite an honor, and we're excited to be part of it," said Sean Egan, Project Manager for Coatings Unlimited in St. Louis. Abe and Savoda, Ston Holly, who's unable to be here, of Minnesota, said his late father-in-law was a tank commander of an M48A3 model used by the U.S. Marine Corps. "We had the opportunity to pick a tank," he said, "and I said, let's take this one, the M48. My father-in-law operated this, and give him a little tribute. I'm a Navy vet and did a tour of Afghanistan, so this hits right close to home for me," said Project Manager Josh Range from Thomas Industrial. "That's why I'm here." So with that, I want to thank again everybody that participated in this project that will keep the Armored Cavalry spirit fighting there for years to come for our younger generation to see what the generations before them did. So our final round of applause. And Sergeant Major Young, would you just stand up and be recognized? That's Command Sergeant Major Young. Give him a round of applause. Okay, now we go to the individual awards. This is the President's Lecture Series Award. Okay? Each year, the SSPC president chooses a technical presentation or technical program he or she feels reflects the essence of the paint and coatings industry and profession. This year, Jim King, the current SSPC president, has chosen the presentation, "The Problem with Meeting Dry Film Thickness Specification," co-authored by Mr. John Fletcher of Alcometer Limited and Dr. Ralph Catan of Sofina Limited, as this year's President Lecture Series Award. Would those two individuals please come forward? The next people I'd like to come up are our scholarship award winners. 5 of the 6 were able to attend. 1 of them was not due to flight. First one is Anna Bacco from the University of Akron. Next one, Mary Cole, the University of Akron. Martin Fletcher, Nichols College. Martin was unable to attend due to flight. Abigail Helbling, University of Akron. Zachary Lurch, the University of Akron. And Chantel Williams, the University of Lethbridge. Would they all come forward, please? Now, wait a minute, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to have you come up, just introduce who you are, what you're studying. And we had one guy, was it last year or 2 years ago, stood up here and said, "I'm a senior, Yale University. I'm looking for a job." Okay? So if they want to do that, but I want them just to come up and introduce themselves, what university and what they're studying. So.
Hi, everyone. My name is Anna Bacco. I'm from the University of Akron studying corrosion engineering, and I'm a 4th-year corrosion engineering student out of a 5-year program.
Hi, everyone. My name is Mary Cole. I'm also studying corrosion engineering, and I'm in my 4th year as well at the University of Akron. I just want to say a big thank you to everyone who's been sponsored, both myself and the other scholarship recipients, so thanks a lot.
Hi, I'm Abigail Helbling. I'm a sophomore in corrosion engineering at the University of Akron, and I would also like to thank you for everyone who awarded the scholarship.
Hello, everyone. My name is Chantel. I actually just recently graduated in education and arts degree, and I plan on ensuing a career in coatings. Thank you.
Hello, I am Zachary Lurch. I am a 5th-year senior at the University of Akron, where I am majoring in the corrosion engineering program. Thank you.
I think if we have other students like that come through the program, the industry will be in good shape for years to come. The next award is the Women in Coatings Impact Award. SSPC is pleased to announce the winners of the SSPC Women in Coatings Impact Award. The Women in Coatings Impact Award has been established by our Women in Coatings session attendees to recognize the talented women in the coatings industry who have contributed to creating a positive impact on the industry and in their workplaces, according to the criteria. Leads by example and inspires colleagues and team members to take risks and move ahead in their careers. Shows commitment to the advancement of the coatings industry, has contributed to creating a positive impact on the culture of the coatings industry. This year, the committee has selected 2 women to receive this award. The first is Deidre Duncan of Duncan Bush Incorporated. She joined Duncan & Bush in 2000 and in 2008 became the majority owner of the company. Deidre has taken a special interest in helping to develop a new career pathways for the young workforce. She personally took control of developing a 3-step intern program for recruiting, training, and promoting new hires. The program exposes all those personnel to all aspects of the company's business, culture, and core values. Safety and hazard recognition and preparation of job site meetings are emphasized at every level. The plan also includes paid internships that are offered every summer to interested people. The internships have allowed employees to move ahead in their careers and the company to have the number of employees needed to open up shops and operations in different states to keep increasing revenues. She also was instrumental in the development of the Young Contractors Forum at the PACE Conference in 2006. Under her guidance, Duncan & Bush became certified by the Women's Business Enterprise National Council. As a woman-owned business, Deidre has also been active in the Industrial Painting Committee as chairman of the Education and Membership Committees. The second award winner is Cynthia O'Malley of KTA Tator Incorporated. Cindy holds the SSPC Protective Coating Specialist PCS certification. She played an instrumental role in establishing the SSPC Women in Coatings Forum in 2010 and was co-chair of the session each year after that at the SSPC conference. Cindy represented the technical contributions of women in the pipeline sector of the protective coatings market as a delegate and speaker at the Middle East Steel Conference in Dubai in 2014. She was the first female to be selected as chairman of the protective coatings session and to make the presentation at the conference. Cindy has published over 26 papers and frequently presents at national and local conferences and coating failure investigation workshops. She's actively involved in standards development for SSPC, NACE, the American Chemical Association, and the American Coatings Association. At KTA, Cindy's approach to personnel development has been integrated into a broader talent management initiative. She initiated a rigorous process of assessing the talents and skill sets of each member of her staff, resulting in individualized development plans that address their technical skills and knowledge, as well as supervisory and leadership skills, industry participation, and personal pursuits. I would like Deidre to come up first and receive her award. And would Cindy please come up? The next award is the SSPC Coatings Education Award. The SSPC Coatings Education Award is given each year for significant development in the dissemination of educational and technical information relating to protective coatings and their application. This year, we are privileged to give this award to Alejandro Exposito Fernandez. Alejandro is the Director of Business Development at Grupo Optec in Murcia, Spain, and holds the SSPC Protective Coating Specialist PCS certification. Alejandro has been a member of SSPC since 2008 as a familiar face at the SSPC conference each year. He's worked diligently to bring SSPC and SSPC training to Spain. He spent many hours working with SSPC and with his colleagues to coordinate the inaugural C7, C12, and C13 courses in Spain. The instructors from the United States that were sent to teach the class said he was there for all of the training and made sure that the courses ran smoothly. They had nothing but words of praise for him. Alejandro has been our main contact for the establishment of the chapter in Spain and the applicator courses in Spain, but he's asked that he also recognize the following companies who also worked with him and attended the courses: Navantia Shipyard, Grupo Optec, Ganditana de Coro y Limiza. This is a tough job, folks. Indasa and Siasa. Would Alejandro please come forward? The next award is the Technical Achievement Award. The SSPC Technical Achievement Award recognizes outstanding service leadership and contribution to SSPC technical committees and other special technical functions. The recipient of this year's award is Mr. Thomas J. Murphy, Director of Sales, Concrete Restoration and Protection, Adhesive Technology Corporation. Tom chaired the C.7.1 Committee on Concrete Resurfacing and Flooring, which converted the old SSPC TU-10 Guide for Applying Thick Film Coatings to Concrete Floorings and Surfacings into SSPC Guide 20 of the same title. This major revision, which involved extensive rewriting and reorganization, was completed in May 2014. Tom not only took the lead in much of the rewriting, but he also encouraged committee members to assist in the entire reorganization and rewriting process. Tom rolled up his sleeves, booted up his computer, and started editing and reorganizing the document. This leads by example approach encouraged other members to actively contribute. As a result of his leadership, the completed guide is well organized and easier to use resource. The entire revision process was completed in 21 months, well below the average revision time of 36 months for a similar document. Tom is now chairing the Committee on Surface Texture of Concrete Coatings, which is developing a classification system to standardize the way manufacturers describe the textures of their coatings. We are pleased to present the 2014 Technical Achievement Award to Mr. Thomas J. Murphy. Would he please step forward? The next award, we have two award winners, is the John D. Keane Award of Merit, acknowledges outstanding leadership and significant contributions to the development of the protective coatings industry and to SSPC. John D. Keane served SSPC as its executive director from 1957 to 1984. This year, there are two award winners, and I'm going to announce the lady before the gentleman. They are Dr. Lydia Frenzel and Mr. Alfred Beidelman. And if you notice that the president gave special recognition to the John D. Keane Award winners when he opened up this conference. So this is how prestigious this award is. Dr. Lydia Frenzel is a recognized authority on surface preparation and has chaired the SSPC NACE committees on water blasting since 1985. She founded the Advisory Council, an influencing network with deals with emergency technologies and their social economic effects. Lydia comes from the Texas Gulf Coast and has seen plenty of rust in action. She earned her doctorate from the University of Texas and accepted a faculty position with the University of New Orleans, where she pioneered marine research at the university with her grants from the Office of Naval Research and the NOAA Sea Grant Program. She served on Louisiana's Task Force on Small Business Innovation as a research director for two international companies and executive VP, the director of CCI Training Services, and as chief spokesperson for the Advisory Council. She is a member of the SSPC Surface Preparation Steering Committee and a member of 12 other SSPC technical committees related to surface preparation, coating application, and inspection. She is a two-time award winner of the SSPC Technical Achievement Award in 1996 and 2012. She is a member of the Technical Advisory Group at NACE for ISO Surface Preparation Committees TC35, SC12, and 14. She received recognition in 2004 as one of the most influential persons in coatings from the JPCL. And lastly, she is affectionately known as the Water Witch of the West. Would Lydia, Dr. Lydia Franzo, please come forward? And I think she wanted to say a few words, right, Lydia? Yes. Okay. A lady, a few words.
Well, a lady, a few words. Bill always is afraid to give me the microphone. But I just want to thank the SSPC Board of Governors. Can't see a thing up here. Okay. Got into a Board of Governors for this recognition. When I first joined SSPC in 1985, it was first year for individual members, and we had less members than we had sitting in this room. All the committees were held in one room. All the poster sessions were just that. They were posters on top of tabletops, and we had box lunches brought in, and we thought it was great. I gave the first paper on water jetting at that conference, and yes, it was the last paper after the last break, and we watched the audience disappear. And I didn't know at that time that this would be such a long haul to persuade members that water is true grit. But I've enjoyed it. I came to SSPC in search of excellence, and that's one of the reasons why you should be here today. I can't see my notes, and Charles tells me never get off the script. As SSPC grew from a few handful of members to thousands of members, we continued to find support for educating people that there was a change in the industry. When we work on the water jetting, we think that we're saving people from lung damage and lead poisoning and protecting the environment. I want you to know that being here, you build your personal network. And never forget that the persons who are nearest to you are the people who start your network. This is an influence network. And we reach out and reach everyone for the influence network. My husband is an artist, a writer, and a scientist, and together we have created a vision where we have put our personal and our business interests together in one undivided whole. And our search for excellence within ourselves is our search for excellence within others. Now I'm going to read a list of people who should be up here getting this award with me because they've helped and supported me all along the way. And I always like to say thank you. And they are, I didn't really expect that there wouldn't be a light up here. Okay. I could have the entire SSPC membership here, but Bill told me I had to keep it under 3 minutes. It's Forrest Shook and Ted Cupsink, NLB Corp. Peter and Bill Petkus with Hold Tight. Wayne Sinek with Termawest. Denny Meservey and Mike Gerke with Hammelman Corporation. Chris and Larry Fulmer with Carolina Equipment and Supply. Wayne Sinek with Termawest. John Kelly, Michael Donahue with International Paint, Hap Peters, James Johnson with Chlorid, PPG, Paul Whitehead, Jenny Houston, Turtle Skin, John Tanner, Amaron Retired, Richard Dupree, UHB Projects, Ed Smith, Hartman Walsh. On to the next list. Ah, yes, Roland Lever with Cavitech and Doug Copain with A1 Able. Roland Lever actually educated the Navy in water jetting and got him to accept it before SSPC actually became aware. Dick Demings with Ingersoll Rand, who's deceased. George Rankin with Aquadyne. Mike Ginn with Butterworth. Charlene Yarber with Cleaner Times. Harold Howard, Karen Capspanis with JPCL. The National Shipbuilding and Research Program, the Ship and Paint Council. Those shipyards really know how to both work and play. And my never-ending task group on committees, and Richard Burgess, my co-chair. I want to thank the SSPC members for being supporters and providing all the education and inspiration that they have. And I want to thank the SSPC Board of Governors again for this recognition and for providing a source of excellence. My search for excellence, I came to SSPC seeking excellence. I found it, it continues to be there, and this is where it's at. Thank you.
Our next John D. Keane Award winner is Mr. Al Beidelman. Al Beidelman earned a chemistry degree in 1967 from Wartburg College in Waverly, Iowa. He began his work with paint in 1970 when he started working for the Army Corps of Engineers in Rock Island, Illinois. His superior was Fletcher Shanks, one of the original organizers of SSPC. The Corps moved him and the entire laboratory to Champaign, Illinois in 1973, where he had the opportunities to set up the new facility. Today, Al continues working for the Corps of Engineers through their Washington, D.C. headquarters while remaining in his Illinois office with the same desk, the same bookcases, and the same file cabinets that he set up over 40 years ago. His primary focus has been coating systems for locks, dams, bridges, and hydropower facilities and various other waterway structures. His work has included performing research in coatings and surface preparation, conducting schools, writing guidance documents, responding to field inquiries in the area of coatings, and the conducting of on-site evaluations on coatings issues. He has written numerous technical reports, journal articles, and made presentations at the national and international conferences. Al holds a coating inspector certification from both SSPC and NACE and received a Technical Achievement Award from SSPC in 2012. Al attended his first SSPC meeting in 1974 and has not missed a single national meeting since. He has been an active participant on most of the surface preparation and coatings committees and has been chairman of the Vinyl Coatings and Coal Tar Coatings Committee. He was a member of the Standards Review Committee for many years. So for his contribution to the coatings industry and the enhancement of the association, SSPC has honored the award of the John D. Keane Award to Mr. Al Beidelman. Would he please step forward? You want to say a few words, Al? No. No way. No way. Okay. That's one way to get a round of applause. Okay. Okay, our last award, and most importantly. The SSPC Honorary Life Member title is bestowed on an individual by the SSPC Board of Governors for their extraordinary long-term activity on behalf of SSPC. 2/3 of the Board of Governors must approve the recipient of our most prestigious award. This year's Honorary Life Member is Mr. Kenneth A. Trimber, President of KTA Tator Incorporated of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Ken is a graduate of Indiana University of Pennsylvania, where he majored in business administration. And he told me I could say this as a sidebar. I graduated from the same university in 1972. Jim King graduated from that same university in 1973, and Ken was 1974. 2 out of the 3 guys are really smart. I didn't say which 2, okay? But back to all seriousness. In 1968, 6 years before his graduation at IUP, Ken began his coatings career at KTA literally on the ground floor by cutting grass, mopping floors, burning trash, and blasting test panels. Soon after, he assisted with coatings application, worked in instrument sales, and ultimately served as a coatings inspector during breaks from college. Since his full-time employment, he has served in numerous positions within the company, beginning as a coatings inspector, quality assurance manager, senior consultant, operations manager of KTA Environmental, principal of KTA/SET Environmental, vice president/technical director of KTA, and lastly as president and senior coatings consultant of KTA, a position he's held from 2001 to the present. His certifications include the SSPC Protective Coating Specialist, SSPC C3, NACE Level 3 CIP, the National Board of Registration for Nuclear Safety Related Coatings Engineers and Specialists. If I talked about all the accomplishment of Ken Trimber at KTA, we'd be here all afternoon. Needless to say, there are many. Ken has been one of our most active members of SSPC since he joined in 1975. He served on the Board of Governors from 1990 to 1999, also serving on the board as SSPC president from 1997 to 98, and as immediate past president from 1998 through 99. Besides being on the board, his other SSPC activities include, or have included, being a member of the Standards Review Committee and being chair of 4 committees, including surface preparation, and one of our newest committees, which addresses commercial coatings at commercial coatings. His SSPC awards and recognitions include a certification of recognition in 1993, Outstanding Publication Award in 1988, recipient of the John D. Keane Award of Merit in 1990, another certification of recognition in 1992 for the development of the Lead Paint Removal and Containment Guide, and the SSPC Coatings Education Award in 1996. In addition to all his activities at SSPC, he participates in ASTM, where he has been either a chair or a member of 6 of their committees. He's also been, I apologize for that. I should have flipped it. By the way, that's Ken in college. That's his date locator. I don't know if he had any success, but I apologize, Ken. I should have flipped that earlier. In addition to all his other activities at SSPC, he participates in ASTM, where he's been either chair or member of 6 of their committees, and he also a member of NACE International. Ken is a very prolific writer, authoring numerous articles for the JPCL and Durability and Design magazines and other periodicals. He's received or been recognized for his contributions to the JPCL and D&D, and was named by JPCL as a top 25 leader and thinker in both 2009 and 2012. He has authored 2 books, Industrial Lead Paint Removal Handbook and Project Design Industrial Lead Paint Removal Handbook, Volume 2, and has been a contributing editor of many other publications. He has presented numerous papers at SSPC meetings and various coatings conferences throughout his long and illustrious coatings career. On a personal note, and I always like to add this, I've been in so many meetings with Ken that I could not even begin to count. He's always been a true gentleman to everyone. Whenever there was a terse discussion going on, he could wade through the emotion and come up with a short synopsis of the problem and a thoughtful and succinct recommendation or solution that would either solve the situation or move the conversation along. These are traits that I wish we all could emulate, absolutely ones that I wish I could. So for his contributions to the coatings industry and the enhancement of this association, SSPC is honored and privileged to award Mr. Kenneth A. Trimber the title of Honorary Life Member.
Well, I appreciate that. As Bill mentioned, I started in '68 as a kid in high school, and it was really just a job to work my way through college, to pay for college. And about 6 months before graduation from college in '74, Ken Tator approached me, probably the age of the scholarship students, and asked if I'd want a full-time job there. I said, well, keep in mind, this was a part-time job just to get money. I said, well, okay, I'll do it until I get a real job. And he still chides me about that to this day. But what he did, early on, he got me involved in standards work. And Al Bideman, I didn't know you were there in '74. In '75, I was at the SSPC meeting, about 100 people in Pittsburgh. And at that time, they were arguing, and I thought, seriously? They were arguing about how much extender pigment you could put in a primer to still be called a zinc-rich coating. I thought, this is crazy. Who cares about this stuff? As I got more involved in the industry, though, going out in the field, I realized how important that stuff was. To develop standards, to develop expectations, and how to, in the field, confirm that you met those expectations. I really embraced standards activities at that time. Active in SSPC and ASTM and the nuclear committees, and had the opportunity to work with some real icons at the time who really set the stage for what we're doing today. And as others have said, many of those people, the new icons, are in this room right now to develop the standards for the future. And I think it's important that we give back and participate in standards writing activities to develop the future. But I appreciate the board very much for doing this. It's humbling. I seriously appreciate it. And even though this isn't my real job yet, it's a pretty good one. And if I had to do it again, I couldn't pick a better industry to get involved in, and frankly, a better organization to be associated with. So again, my humble thanks. Thank you very, very much.
I'm disappointed with one of the Board of Governors, the ex officio member. 2 years ago, he put a glass of liquor up here for the president to drink, because the president at that time was really nervous. I won't use his name, but he was really nervous. And he needed that to kind of, ease the tension a little bit. But the president doesn't drink, at that time didn't drink, so I took it at the very end. I swashed it down and I said, I'm done. And guess what? I'm going to turn it back to Jim because I'm done.
Before I ask if there's any new business and close today's annual meeting, there is one additional award to present that is not on the agenda. And with that, if you'll bear with me for just a second, I'd like to tell you a quick story. Back in December, as my wife and I were preparing our home for the holidays, she was downstairs decorating, and I was upstairs putting up a tree in our loft. I decided I needed something on TV, and while I was working, began flipping through the television stations with the remote. I came upon the movie White Christmas. Now, I hadn't seen that movie in some time and thought, it's Christmas time. Maybe it's time to get in the spirit. I think I'll watch it. As many of you know, the movie is about an Army general, General Waverly to be exact, who had retired from active military duty and became the proprietor of an inn in Vermont. As I selected the channel, the first thing I saw was Bing Crosby singing a song from that movie, What Do You Do with a General When He Stops Being a General? I chuckled for a moment because for some very, very strange reason, I immediately thought about our fearless leader, Mr. Bill. I'm thinking, what do you do with a retired lieutenant colonel when he stops being a lieutenant colonel? Well, hell, you make him the executive director of SSPC and just let him continue to act like a lieutenant colonel. And if there's anyone out there who doubts that, just ask any member of the SSPC staff or any board member who has served under Bill's 15-year regime. Well, as many of you know by now, Bill has announced his retirement from active SSPC duty effective 1 September of this year. I'm getting pretty good with this lingo. And as such, this will be his last conference as the organization's executive director. I think it would be an understatement to suggest that his impact on the organization has been anything but extraordinary. Earlier this morning, we saw the organization's financial highlights, and believe me, those financial results would be the envy of any hotshot CFO. The graphs presented show the continued growth of SSPC as we now have approximately 11,000 members, a more than 50% increase since 1999. And our training and certification programs, the backbone of SSPC, have expanded exponentially and are sought after throughout the world. Now, Bill will be the first to tell you he didn't do this alone. He will credit his outstanding staff, and rightfully so. But as with any organization, success starts at the top. Having had the opportunity to work closely with Bill over the past several years, and as many other board members have as well, I can tell you that there is not a more dedicated individual who over his SSPC career has totally immersed himself in making SSPC the thriving, world-renowned organization that it is, serving the coatings industry. There will be many things we miss upon Bill's retirement. Most who know him well will miss his quick wit, the Shoupisms, most of which I cannot repeat here in mixed company, the practical jokes, and for some, the before 8 o'clock phone conversations. In addition, we would also be remiss if we did not recognize Bill's best half, Diane. She has been a great First Lady of SSPC, accompanying Bill on many of his overseas trips, interacting with our international members and colleagues, and she has been a great host to many of our members' spouses who attend the conference annually. So, Bill, just like in the movie, when all of General Waverly's troops came to the inn to recognize the old man, your troops are all here today. And I am honored and privileged on behalf of the entire membership, your SSPC staff, and all the members of the Board of Governors, past and present, to wish you and Diane nothing but great health and happiness throughout your retirement, and to present you today with the first ever Board of Governors Award. This award is to be presented to a member of the SSPC staff who has displayed distinguished service, extraordinary dedication, and loyalty to SSPC over their career. And we can think of no one more worthy as you to accept this first ever award. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Bill Shoup.
I can't wait for one of the staff to say, sit on it. Let me just say this. I came to SSPC because I wanted to go to Pittsburgh. That was my home. And I found a family. And I just want to say thank you. I'm an emotional guy. I wear it on my sleeve. John Sylvester knows that 30 years ago. I wear it on my sleeve. So I'm shedding a tear because I'm leaving my family. And as staff, I can't thank you enough. So thanks.
And as our last item of the day, I'd like to ask if there's any new business out there that needs to come to our attention. And if there isn't, well, we're adjourned. And have a great week, everyone. Enjoy the conference.